Hi, my name's Jared. I'm the current Vice President for the Abilene Society of Model Railroaders. Welcome to Episode 1 of Behind the Module. In this series, we'll be taking a look at either a single or multitude of modules on our layout, and the club member responsible for each section will give insight as to what the module includes, such as the evolution of the module, the construction of it, everything included in it, and their future plans for each module. For the first episode, we'll be taking a look at my own personal module.
My section of the layout is made up of modules numbered 26 and 27. They can be found here on the very back of the layout, and they are located on the top level. So starting off with just a little pan shot of both my modules here. First thing that you can notice is that it is still very much under construction. I've been working on these modules for a while, and I'm still making up my mind about what to do in some areas, but it's still very much a work in progress.
So, starting off, the first section that I actually started working on when I took over for this section is the steel plant. So, I put together this steel plant back when I first took over this section at our last location over on Westwood, and I modeled this steel plant after the existing Hirschfeld steel plant that's over in Abilene near Team P Lane. Now, it's not an exact representation, but I feel like it's a pretty good industry to have on our layout. Starting off with the main building, that is a Walthers kit. I can't think of the exact name of it right now, but I'm sure I'll let you know. But I put it together, painted it different with the brick, painted the windows green, and gave some weathering to it. Now, running along the building is another Walthers kit. This is the little mine track Walthers kit. It just comes with a couple cars. It doesn't run or anything, but I think it looks pretty neat. It goes along the side and back there out of view, along with a scrap steel pile ready to be melted down into whatever steel the customer needs. Coming to the track itself, this part is actually on the real thing over on Hirschfeld Steel. You got the overhead crane that goes over the loading area, and then right along here I've got some little steel pipes that I cut and painted for loading onto flat cars or whatever. And then you also got a covered loading area over here for more sensitive cargo. At one point I did have an old EMD prime mover that I put in there, but I've recently moved it for a different project. Off to the sides, on the first side you got a little storage shed in the back. Over on the other side, I found an old kit in one of our older boxes of a construction kit, as if something's under construction, and it came with a little sign there for showing that the plant's under construction, and it came with a little crane too. And aside from those, I also added a few smaller details, mostly from, again, Walthers kits. So you've got a little forklift and pickup there, and as well as multiple Walthers figures around the industry to give it a little bit of life. And probably my favorite bit on this section, up here you've got presumably the plant manager yelling down at two of his staff who I guess he saw slacking off from his office window. Now, around the outside of this, back at our old location, I did have a scratch-built wooden fence that I had put up around it. However, as we were moving locations, when we were taking everything apart, that the fence would not come out in one piece. So I need to rebuild a new fence for it. Over here to the east side of the steel plant is just a little bit of overgrown grass, as well as the remnants of where another industry used to be. Personally, something I'm always fascinated with is stuff that's abandoned, stuff that's old and rusted out. So I felt like I wanted to model an abandoned industry over here for this section. So the base over here is just a couple styrene plates that I put next to each other and painted. And then over here you've got some old wooden ties where the track used to be for the industry. All the grass on my modules is static grass. Over here for the abandoned section, I used medium length, medium green grass to give it a bit more of a abandoned look, like it was a bit unkept. And I don't plan on doing anything else for this section over here. I just think it's something unique to my section. As far as scenery goes for my section of the layout, I've got about 3/4 of it filled to the way with grass. Over here on this section, I've used short static grass as well as dark green tufts to simulate more foliage buildup. This section in the foreground, as well as in the back there, is going to be modeled as typical West Texas mesquite forest, I guess you can call it. I'm actually in the process of 3D printing some mesquite trees as well as cactus. So as soon as I get those those finished printing, I'll get them put up and we'll get them in these empty areas. Over here in the back corner is pretty much the same thing, except I added a bit more elevation. Now this area over here is not static grass for the most part. It's mostly just normal foam foliage, whereas there are a few areas that do have static grass, mostly these lighter colored areas, just for some variation. Now I'm going to add the 3D printed mesquite trees over here as well, but I do have a few test trees here that I already had on hand. And you've got this kind of pale section right here. This is going to be turned into a rock wall where it's dug out to let the tracks go by. And then this little culvert with some gravel at the bottom.
Now for the rest of the module, I plan on continuing just the normal scenery in the foreground as well as back by the hills. I also have another non-rail serviced kit I plan on building, as well as continuing this road from the next module. It's going to come across, and then I'm going to add another road that's going to go across the tracks. Alright, and that just about wraps up everything for my modules. If you like this sort of stuff, I do have some more videos planned for future modules, so keep an eye out for those. And as always, have a great day.